So the expectations are really high. Coming from last year, I didn't know what to expect, and now there's a standard. Coming in every day and just bringing energy and working hard.
When a reporter for the Chicago Sky insults Angel Reese, you won't believe what happens next. For a very long time, women's basketball has provided a stage for fierce rivalry, courageous individuals, and moments that change lives off the court. But few recent occurrences have sparked as much debate or controversy as the public disclosure of Angel Reese's crucial contribution to the WNBA's phenomenal expansion.
Angel Reese kind of things online during interviews.
Known for her unflinching fortitude and unapologetic bravado, the Chicago Sky star was at the center of a storm that exposed the disparity between her claimed impact and the sobering reality. Furthermore, just when you thought the drama couldn't be much more intense, a significant shift in her role with the Sky added gasoline to an already blazing fire. This is the story of a player who is caught between Caitlin Clark's undeniable star power and her own hoopla. A tale that is equally about basketball, ambition, identity, and the ongoing scrutiny of the spotlight. Rewind to the previous season, when Angel Reese, fresh off a national championship with LSU, stormed into the WNBA with a grudge and a narrative to sell. She declared herself to be more than a mere athlete. She was extraordinary. She was a major contributor to the growth and popularity of women's basketball after LSU defeated Iowa in the NCAA championship game. She claimed that there were other factors besides Caitlin Clark that contributed to the surge in sports attendance, which included packed venues and celebrity-studded stands. The shared victory was equally influenced by her own celebrity. It was a bold statement that resonated with her fervently loyal fan base and cemented her status as a contentious figure who thrived in the hostile position. But this is where the mayhem starts. Since strong claims required dramatic evidence, Reese's declaration was set to collide with reality in a way that would leave her reeling for answers. There was a lot of enthusiasm in the air during the Chicago Sky's news conference to kick off the 2025 season. It was anticipated that Reese, a second-year forward, would improve on her rookie campaign, in which her ability to rebound garnered attention from a large crowd of supporters. But as a question stabbed through the room like a knife, the mood shifted. Did she still believe that people were watching women's basketball because of her? The query wasn't cruel. What followed will astound you, since it was a direct allusion to her own remarks and a chance for her to reflect or intensify.
And saying the reason people are watching women's basketball is not just because of one player, but because of you too. A year later, do you feel like you're
Next question.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Ray said two words that stood out more than any highlight reel while her own story hung in the balance. The space froze at the next question. No statistics, no defense. Her remarks were obviously out of touch with reality, yet there was no swagger, just a little sidestep. This was more than just an awkward situation. Instead, it was a break in the meticulously crafted facade she had established. But hold on, things take a shocking turn at this point. The story that the numbers, the brutal arbiters of reality, tell is one that Reese cannot ignore. Last season, an average of 8,000 people attended each Chicago Sky home game. Appropriate, but not quite consistent with a cultural phenomenon. Contrast that with the Indiana Fever, who, thanks to Caitlin Clark, brought over 17,000 fans to Gainbridge Fieldhouse every night and turned every game into a sold-out event. And it gets worse. Reese should have been greeted as a triumphant hero at LSU, but only 6,000 people attended her much-awaited preseason homecoming. The stadium has space for more than 13,000 spectators. As a result, the return of a national champion wasn't quite positive. Keep an eye out, because the following section gets really interesting. Her prior preseason efforts were far more telling. A Chicago Sky home game against the Minnesota Lynx drew just 4,600 spectators. However, 7,600 people attended a Minnesota away game. Most of them most likely came to cheer for the home team. These are not the figures of a player leading a revolution, but rather the numbers of a league that is still in its infancy. However, here she was, and this is the unexpected part. Caitlin Clark was transforming the WNBA's business strategy as Reese's games struggled to attract large audiences. Clark didn't need to declare her impact. The numbers completed the task faster than you could say three-pointer for her. Her homecoming game at Iowa's Carver Hawkeye Arena sold out in 45 minutes after 15,000 seats were scooped up. Over $600 was the average price of tickets to her preseason games. You read properly, yes. It's not just a basketball exhibition game record either. The perception of the sport has undergone significant alteration. The teams playing the Fever had to move their home games to larger NBA arenas in order to accommodate the demand. Ray, and every other player in the league's history, have never seen this phenomenon, as well as the goods. Clark's jersey was the second best-selling item in all of basketball in 2024, surpassing only Steph Curry, whereas Reese's didn't even place in the top 10. The Fever have now announced that every game was played at home using tour-style t-shirts. Clark turned every game into a must-see event with his promotion. The message was clear-cut. Clark wasn't just a player, he was a movement. But what comes next is just absurd. While Ree was dodging questions and dealing with low attendance, the Chicago Sky made a startling statement that sent shockwaves through the basketball community. Reese's position would be drastically altered by the team's offensive strategy, which was announced by new head coach Tyler Marsh. There was no longer the paint-dominant rebound-snatching forward who had made a name for herself on double-doubles. In her place, the Sky envisioned a stretch for a versatile player who could take mid-range jumpers when stepping away from the hoop and spread the floor. As if things couldn't get much stranger, the main focus of this new offense wasn't actually that bad. Due to her stature, grace, and untapped potential, Camila Cardoso, the Brazilian starlet, became the new center of attention. Reese's absence from training camp after the announcement just added to the drama, which was a complete redesign rather than a tweak. Reese's dominance in the paint has always been a part of her identity as a player, let's face it. During her time at LSU and her rookie season, she grabbed rebounds with a ferocity that seemed personal, and she scored double-doubles that contributed to her rise to fame. She established herself as a strong opponent with her viral 19-rebound performance against Indiana in her second professional game. But according to the Sky's new blueprint, she must give up the same thing that made her famous: mid-range jumpers grab and try to make a shot. This is significant terrain for a player whose career field goal percentage is 39.1%. She delivers her shots slowly, mostly on shoots around the basket. Because of her awkward style, asking her to extend the floor is like asking a sprinter to run a marathon. The real reason for this will astound you. The Sky are not just trying to enhance Reese's skill set, they are also preparing their club for a league that demands flexibility. And this is where everything completely goes awry. The keys to the painting that Ree had been holding while her character was being rewritten were handed to Cardoso, whose softer touch, better spacing, and general appeal make her a bankable star in the making. The images are brutal. Only a few days after making headlines by competing against her country's squad, Cardoso was dubbed the new cornerstone of the Sky. Social media users went bananas, accusing the Sky of plotting to damage Reese's name and back Cardoso. Conspiracy theories claimed that the move was a deliberate attempt to cut short Reese's record-breaking rebounding run before it could define her WNBA career. Here's what they're not telling you, though. This is not about bigotry, it's about basketball. Forwards that can move the ball, shoot, and generate offense are needed in the modern WNBA. Ree's one-dimensional game rebound putback repeat makes her susceptible to defenses that block the paint and make it difficult for her to shoot. Tension is evident, and Reese's silence conveys more information than any press conference could. There is more to her absence from training camp than just a scheduling conflict. It's a proclamation. Most elite athletes would see a change in duty as a chance to hone their abilities and convince doubters. However, Reese's attitude suggests that she views it as a betrayal and a theft of the identity she has worked so hard to develop, so you won't believe how it ends up. Supporters are calling for her to make a move more loudly. "They don't deserve you, Angel." One guy scrawled, "Leave Chicago." On X, drama of this kind flourishes in social media echo chambers when subtleties are overshadowed by outrage. To be brutally honest, though, Reese's career may be defined more by her unwillingness to change than by any number. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to promote the WNBA without ever bringing up herself. Every day, more than 1 million people watch her games. The Fever have more nationally televised games this season than even the Los Angeles Lakers, demonstrating her impact. Her jersey sales are comparable to those of NBA legends. Filling venues isn't all Clark does. Teams improve facilities and boost marketing to take advantage of her star power, which forces the league to reassess its infrastructure. The strategy used by the Fever is a brilliant illustration of using skill. By surrounding Clark with seasoned players like Sophie Cunningham and Natasha Howard, they have created a roster designed to win today rather than in 3 years. Cunningham's analogy of Clark to a more youthful, attractive, flamboyant, and